welcome to my shed, and today we're going to be turning this awesome pile of bike parts into hopefully one of the coolest bikes ever made. So this is my new trail bike, short travel trail bike. It's a 140. It's the Siskiu T, but as you can see, it's in some pretty nice special edition paint. Pop it in there, protect it, don't want to scratch that new paint. We're going to start off with the old cranks, make sure they go on, because anyone that's ever fitted cranks knows they rarely fit straight away. But lucky I did this again earlier. So we're going to slide it on and move on to the next part. Nice, so far so good. I never really know whether that bit should go up or down or forwards or backwards. I'm sure someone's going to tell me in the comments, but I'll just put it in whichever way it fits, I think. It'll definitely work for today. Next bit's definitely categorised as a fun bit to put the forks in, then it starts to really come together and look like a bike. We just need to do a few cuts to make sure it fits. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to mark it exactly where to cut and then cut it. This is actually just a plumber's tool for cutting sort of plumbing pipes, but makes the perfect circle cut. Makes you look like you know what you're doing anyway. There we go. Perfect. Hopefully that's in the right place. This is where it's actually gonna get good, because I want to make this bike into a bit of a kind of slopeduro style kind of bike, halfway between an enduro bike and a slopestyle bike. I want to be able to do bar spins and tail whips, and the front brake is definitely in the way, so you need to thread it down the top tube basically, which is why I've got this little special bad boy. It's got a little hole in the top cap, so the front cable or front brake hose can go through there, through all this contraption here, and you just use that instead of a starter. So let's see what we can do with that. Luckily Shimano brakes are quite good for stuff like this. You can just sort of unscrew it, change the lever without having to re-bleed the whole thing. I don't know how or why, but that's just the case. So yeah, you just pop it out like that. There we go. Just really hope that's long enough now to go out to there. That'd be annoying if not. But there we go, cool. What is next? We've got to put our bars on, and for this bike I've got the new Spike 800 Vibracore bars. They come as an 800 width, but that's a bit too much for me. Again, I'm going to use my little pipe cutter to get that perfect cut. So I like to cut about 10mm off each end. That gives me bars of 780 width. I find that sort of as a nice combo. The wider your bars, the more control you get, but the thinner they are, kind of the more agile you can be through trees and maybe for bar spins and stuff, which hopefully I'm going to be able to do on this bike. So it's a good width. I think 780 is a good toss-up between the two. And with these little increments, you can make sure you cut exactly the same off each side. The amount of bars, I've seen people have like wonky bars, one end sticking out too much, is mad. So yeah, this just helps with that. And actually the best thing about these bars is actually the Vibracore bit there. Yeah, it just takes out those hard vibrations on your big impact. Yeah, I got a pretty bad wrist these days after breaking it, and it definitely helped me out with that. So I'm pairing up the spike bars with the split stem. It looks really cool, you can see the front. And something real handy when you're setting it up with this bar and stem combo is all the little lines you can see through that gap. So you can set them up perfectly, well, perfectly straight in the middle to start with, and then you can adjust it 1 or 2 degrees backwards or forwards using the sort of measurements in there, so you can make sure you get the same on every bike and the same every time, which is really handy. Okay, last but not least, to finish up the cockpit, Spike 30 grips. Right, next up is seat time, and this is a bit of a special one. This is my signature seat that we designed and developed with Spank. It's called the Spoon Sniff, actually. And if you really want to know, it's because when you do a big Superman, your nose gets that close to the saddle, and the photo that we used to launch this new seat looked quite funny, so we called it the sniff, because you sniff your seat when you do a big Superman. Because this is going to be more of a kind of slope-style-y enduro bike, I'm going to use this more sort of slope-style-y kind of seat. There we go, lovely. We'll adjust the angle later when it's not above my head. Next up, wheels time, and again we're going for some Spank, 350 front wheel and a 359 rear wheel. So actually you can buy them as a pair like this, but this is what I ride on all my bikes because the 350 front wheel has a bit of a shallower rim, I think 17mm, and that way it's a bit more sort of radial compliant over the bumps. It flexes a little bit to give you a bit more grip on the front, and on the rear I think it's 19mm deep, the rim, so it makes it a bit stronger and a bit sort of beefier, because obviously, let's be honest, you break your back wheel 9 times out of 10 and your front wheel 1 out of 10, so it actually makes sense to have a stronger rear wheel, which I think is super cool. They are alloy wheels. Spank actually don't make any carbon parts, so you see on my bike there's actually not a single carbon part, just because it's not actually very good for the environment, and I think that's a really cool thing about Spank. They don't actually push that very much, but it makes me like Spank even more that they don't show off about it. This is actually the new one, which has 102 teeth of engagement, so it spins. It's going to sound absolutely crazy, which means I think there's one click every 3.5 degrees. Maybe I'll look silly if that's wrong, but I do remember that for some reason. And I've never put one of these on before. But how hard can it be? Epic! I mean, if a Burke like me can do that, then I think anyone can really. Now we're going to put the tyres on the rims. We're going to go for tubeless to save a bit of weight, to make this bike fun and playful. Going for the Kenda Nevergold Pro for the front, so it's like a nice sort of light enduro-y tyre, but also going to grip in pretty nicely. And of course, make sure to line up your logos for that pro look. Again, that's what we're going for today. No, it's a big one. Sick, now we're going to pump it up. I actually don't know if I have a pump. Chris, can I borrow a pump? Hopefully we can just pump that up. Sick, there we go. Epic. Should we check the sausages? Looking good, CA. Very nice. Oh, baby. So we're going for 180mm rotor on front. I think, especially with those big old brakes, that should be more than enough. And then I don't know what we're going to put on the back yet, actually. Either 180 or 160. Let's just see what we've got kicking around. Cool. Now the wheels get to go on, and it's really going to start looking like a bike now, which is exciting. Oh my god, I've put the back tyre on the wrong way around. Just quickly spin that around. Now that the tyre is on the correct way around, we'll try that again. Straight in. Yes! That looks sick, huh? Oh, I'm excited now. And some nice finishing touches. I've gone for these orange DMR V12s. I actually prefer the V12s over the Volts because they got a bit of a smaller platform, and I just prefer that. It's a rider preference thing. And yeah, I went for the orange to match these little orange accents here. I thought about going for a blue. They actually make all sorts of colours in these. But yeah, going for the orange in this one. Let me know in the comments what colour you had chosen. But for now, we're going with orange. So there we go. I think time to get it off the stand now, because we have the tricky task of trying to set all the cables up. Basically there's 4 cables, the 2 brakes, the gears and the dropper seat post, and I need to see if it's possible to route them in a way in which I can do a bar spin. So that's going to be the next tricky challenge. That's going to be easier on the floor, I think. Here we go. Oh, sick! That works pretty good. Needs a bit of fine tweaking, but that definitely is an enduro bike with 4 cables that can bar spin. Sick. So there it is. I think you'll agree, it looks so good. Obviously I need to set the gears up, do a few other boring bits, put a few cable ties on, but then I think we're ready to go to the trails. Oh yes, cool. So here we are, come to the local Rogate Bike Park, where I think there's going to be the perfect trails to test out this new beast. Hopefully all the bolts are done up tight, but yeah, let's do it. Here we go. turns here I think are going to be the perfect proving ground for this bike. Short wheelbase, short travel, light and nimble. It's what this bike was made for. The turns are amazing on this bike. That was almost a bit too much fun. I think we're going to have to stop it there. But I need to go check the jumps before we leave, just to prove the slopestyle aspect of this bike. So there's a few little jumps over there we're going to go hit now. Wow, first impressions, this bike is tiny and so good. It really is like a little slopestyle bike with the dropper and gears. It's actually my dream bike. As you saw then, I almost fell off the back because it's so light.